So this video is going to be a little bit redundant, but I thought it might be handy for people that may not have seen my other packaging videos. If you already have, then a lot of this knowledge is going to be something you already would have picked up if you watched the whole video. This video is going to be on how to package bulk server or switch power supplies. And the first thing that needs to be done is protecting these connectors. So I'm going to kind of make this a quick cut video rather than showing the whole process as is. And I'm going to cover up those connectors and show what they look like. Okay, well, I got the connectors on these power supplies protected now. And what I've done is I've taken a half sheet of paper, folded it in half, and then taped it across the connector. Now, this isn't a surefire way to protect the connector, but it's a reasonable way, and it should be adequate for most cases. In order to damage those pins, you'd have to puncture the paper or have the paper come off. So the next step is going to be shrink wrapping these in bundles of 5, particularly 5 in this case because it's 10 power supplies I'm shipping. So I will do that and show what that looks like next. Well, now I have them all wrapped up together using some of that pallet wrap there. And the next step will be wrapping these up in bubble wrap to protect them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip one of these bundles around and I'm going to kind of put them against each other like this. But these particular units have these little tabs on the sides that I don't want to get damaged or have them damage each other. So what I'm going to do, this is an example piece, I'm going to take a piece of foam that is thick enough to keep these apart so the tabs can't interact with the power supplies. Obviously this piece of foam is a little too thin, but that'll kind of give you an idea. And then once I find the right piece of foam, I'm going to wrap these up in bubble wrap. So that'll be the next step I show. Well, I've wrapped around this with 2 inches of bubble wrap and got the last piece of tape on there. And we're almost done packaging these basically. So I'm going to tape this on, and then the next step is going to be to overwrap this wrap, bubble wrap, with more shrink wrap. And that's just going to be to kind of keep everything nice and tight together. So this is one glorious bubble wrapped package now, ready for boxing. And do a quick measurement here, figure out what size of box we're going to need. Interesting. Nope, not quite. I thought maybe that would fit in a 14-inch cube, but I don't think I'm going to be quite that lucky. This is a little heavier than I'd like it to be, unfortunately. Yeah, it's about 15 by 15. But I think it'll go just fine in a single wall box. Luckily, this isn't going very far, so there will be a little bit less abuse subjected to it. So I'm going to go track down a box to put this in now. Well, the box I'm using isn't very pretty on the outside. It's a little rougher than I would like, but it's the closest box I have that will not be obnoxiously large. Plus, I was going to use a single wall box, but this box happens to be double wall. And one thing you'll notice that I've done is I've kind of pinned the bundle of power supplies in place in the box using some chunks of scrap foam, which is something I like to do. I still do need to void fill these voids with packing peanuts just so the box corners don't get crushed in, and this is a little bit less susceptible to shifting around. So that'll be my next step. Well, as you can see, this has been tightly void filled. So the only thing left to do is close the flaps, make sure this gap is nice and tight, and then basically tape across this seam and tape across the edges, and this will be good to go. So hopefully that's helpful, and thanks for watching.